Hey there ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another video. I'm TheXploder, and today I will be giving you my impressions of Dragonball: The Breakers. After participating in the game with its open beta weekend, I had a blast with it with a bunch of members of the community, and quite frankly, I made a lot of footage as well. So let's go over it while you see some of the gameplay in the background. The first thing that I really fell in love with the game is that the tutorial, even though it's basic, is very good. It's a very nice, simple introduction to solo play and the basics of game mechanics, as well as an introduction to what you can do with teammates, such as helping teammates to establish keys, or even assisting teammates in resurrection, or just helping them get up by rubbing defibrillators against one another, which is really cute. However, it wasn't until when it came to near the end of the beta when I thought to myself, why is there not a tutorial or an introduction to playing as a raider? Now don't get me wrong, if you're queuing as a raider and if you're trying out the raider tech on its own, you're probably best just being chucked into the deep end anyway and playing around as the raider. But there's not even a practice option for raiders, or a tutorial that introduces you to the basics of how it all works, such as spawning into the world, finding civilians, moving to your second form, and how to basically adapt your gameplay style from when you're starting out in your base form to when all of a sudden you're absolutely trouncing arse in your final form. I just think that would be a nice little something to add in. After the tutorial as well, there's a mini illusion of what could potentially be a storyline in The Breakers. I don't know if it's been officially revealed that there is going to be a single player slash co-op storyline that runs alongside you playing the game and leveling up. But it seems interesting that we're introduced to these two characters that join you in the main hub of the game, and they just don't seem to do anything yet. Bearing in mind yet, because of course, this is only a beta test. Speaking of the hub itself, the hub is very nice. It's got some basic bits. You've got your mailman, you've got your information man, you've got your little huts where you're able to redo your character customization, you're able to go into the gacha mechanics in order to get more transfers, and it took me a while to figure this out, the hyperbolic time chamber, where you can go in there and invest points to level up the skills that you are using as your survivor. And this is going to be essential because there are going to be characters and transfers with skills you really want. And if you level them to level 10, then you automatically get them fully unlocked, which means you do not need to have the transfer or character equipped in order to use them, which is brilliant. So do not forget this when the game comes out, because it's going to be essential that you level up the skills you want access to. I think the only issue I have with the hub is that it does feel lonely when it's just you there. I'm assuming for the beta they just have individual hubs, and then maybe when the game releases it can have the teammates that comes in, because you can run the game with a full team of 8 people in your party, with one of them being the raider and everyone else being a survivor, which is absolutely fine. But if they opened it up any bigger than 8 people within your party and made it an online lobby, for example, I think it'll just become way too cumbersome way too quick. I mean, it was cumbersome in Xenoverse and Xenoverse 2, and those hubs are massive. So bear that in mind, this hub is tiny, so unless it has a tiny team around it or it's just yours, that could be very clogged up very quick. Waiting times when in between matches have been exceedingly great. I was shocked that the very first game I got into, I think I waited a maximum of 8 seconds, and I'm immediately chucked into a game, I'm fighting against Frieza, everything's going absolutely crazy, and it was brilliant. That was a crazy experience. And then on average after that point, I've been waiting between, let's say, around 10 seconds at the lowest to about 3 minutes at the longest. And bearing in mind, when I waited for 3 minutes, that was when I was specifically queuing to be a raider. So I think the queue system was trying its best to get me in as a raider, so it took a little bit more time to help me out, even though some of the games I went into, I did not get raider at all, which is absolutely fine. The queue system is at least trying to go in there with what you are looking for specifically. The games themselves are really quick, but they are really engaging. It's so exciting to get in there, get the items you need, run around, survive as best as you can, juking the raider, teaming up with allies, shooting rockets, shooting Gallic guns from Vegeta gloves, and even transforming into some of the legendary warriors that you have as transfers. It's an absolute blast. It just feels perfect. The only thing that I've really realized with gameplay is that sometimes, and I just mean sometimes, there have been some on-screen jitters and maybe a bit of lag, which has led me to believe that when you jump into a game, the game is hosted by whoever's raiding, because we have also had a couple of instances when the raider has disconnected or just fully left the game, and the entire game just shuts down, which makes sense, because if you have a game without a raider, what are you going to be doing apart from just running around the place, getting the time machine and going for free? That's not exactly the most fun thing, is it? But if the connection is reliant on the raider, and if the raider's connection is a little bit skew with, you might see a little bit of lag. Not 100% sure on this. I think I'm more 90-10% sure on this. So keep that in mind when you do jump in. The other thing I really enjoyed is the differences in play styles when it comes between the raiders and the survivors. Even the raiders themselves have differences in their play styles. In this beta test, we were finally able to play with both Cell and Frieza, and both of them play completely different. I'll go in more depth with Cell and Frieza's playstyles in individual videos I have planned coming out soon, because I really want to go more in depth in how they play and how much fun they are, because they are both incredibly fun. As for the survivors themselves are really, really funny. You can have all this character customization to make them as wacky or as serious as you really want them to be. And on top of that, when you jump in-game, every player can have their own individual loadouts to make themselves play in different ways. If you want to be a guy that moves around the map really fast, go for it. If you want to be a guy that helps resurrect people faster, go for it. If you want to be a guy that just gets to your level 3 boost as fast as you can, ready to body the raider, freaking go for it. I will say, my personal favourites when I was playing a survivor in the game were Oolong's rocket change, because that was exceedingly handy, and Krillin's abilities to boost vehicle speed boost and jump boost, which made playing around in vehicles way better than I had ever thought. But with that being said, the game itself has completely won me over. I am so hyped to play this game when October comes, and I cannot wait to play with you guys online, because it's going to be a massive fun time. I guess if I do have any worry about the game now, it's that I hope that the longevity of the game is kept up. I definitely want to see more characters when it comes to survivors and raiders. I definitely want to see more transfers and more of the legendary warriors that could potentially have a transfer. Even quirky, funny warriors that you may not have even thought, like Hercule, for example. And the thing I am dreading is that I don't want this to be a game where, yeah, it's affordable to buy, but then as soon as you bought into it, a couple of months down the line, they just put more and more and more stuff behind real money paywalls, and then eventually this just becomes a money-making gacha game that is just completely trouncing the whole reason why I'm loving the game. I'm loving the game because of its gameplay. The gacha mechanics make perfect sense. It keeps you playing to get the bits that you want, and I enjoy it. It's absolutely fine. It's not predatory whatsoever. At least it doesn't feel predatory yet. But if the game launches, it has a real money cash shop or real money transactions with the gacha, and people can just spend, I don't know, $100 to get as many gachas as they can on day one and be exceedingly better than you. But yet again, this is bearing in mind, you can only use gacha to gain skills for the survivors. You cannot do anything along those lines for raiders. In order to boost the effectiveness of your raiders, you have to play and level up those raiders. So keep that in mind. It is balanced in that extent, which makes me very happy. But that's all that I really have to say about Dragon Ball The Breakers. It was a super fun time playing the beta. Cannot wait for its official release out in October. But now I want to know, have you played the game? What did you think about it? What are your likes and dislikes? Let me know down in the comments and let's get a conversation going. On top of all that, why don't you come on over to the Discord channel, where we will be playing Breakers on Discord when the game comes out, and having regular game nights where we can all jump in and have a fantastic time. Before we close out, also, if you like this video and if you do want to see a bunch more stuff, you can leave your comments down below, and whilst you're down there, you can subscribe for more YouTube content. Don't forget to click the bell as well if you do want to be notified when new stuff comes out. Or you can even hop on over to my Twitch channel, where I do live stream on the regular with a bunch of other games as well. All the footage that you're seeing here for the most part either came from my streams or came from when I was streaming the game while playing it over on Discord. So if you are a part of the community, you may be able to be a part of some of the behind the scenes stuff also, which is a big bonus. But until next time guys, hope you enjoyed it. Hope to see you out there on Dragon Ball The Breakers in the future. And in the meantime, stay safe, stay awesome, and most importantly, stay explosive. I'm seeing you guys next time.